Hey, Mike.
Hey, what's going on, Alan?
What's up, Mike?
Not much. So first and foremost, I moved back to Ohio about 3 years ago after doing 15 years on active duty. Still on active duty.
Okay.
My wife introduced me to you guys, and I haven't stopped listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your listenership.
Probably stop listening a little bit.
So it's kind of ironic that I've been shot twice and blown up 3 times.
Yikes!
Five tours in Afghanistan, and the flag itself, it causes a visceral reaction for me. Like when I see it, it means something to me. I stopped going to funerals because I got tired of going to funerals and putting my friends down on the ground.
Right.
That being said, I find it mildly ironic, and I don't lean left, I don't lean right. I don't really agree with any of the politics going on in our country today. But it's ironic that the same people that complain so much about snowflakes, quote unquote, being so temperamental and so susceptible to being offended, get so offended about something that is a personal conviction for you.
Well, and to your point, a lot of the same people who elected a guy who pissed all over John McCain somehow have a problem with people kneeling during the anthem.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where I look at it and I see all these people kneeling and doing their things. Awesome, do your thing. The flag means something to me,
right?
Not anybody else. And
right.
I don't care what it means to anybody else. It means something to me. And what it means to anybody else, I mean, and I'm not going to swear, I'm going to use your words, I don't give a flippin' shrimp.
I got a million questions for Mike, though. I won't take up two. Don't they cap your tours at like 3 or something?
Yeah, so what I used to do in the military, it was 5. Usually 5 was the time when you get done with 5, they kind of say, okay, you've had enough.
So you were like a specialized guy then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not bragging, but yeah.
No, I got you. I want to know. So
Please brag.
Are you fully mobile? You said you got shot 3 times and blown up twice?
Blown up 3 times, shot twice. Yeah, it's kind of ironic. So one of the things they never tell you in the military is, you guys have seen the Bourne movies.
Sure.
And what is Jason Bourne? He's an asset. One of the things they don't tell you in the military is you're an asset until you can't do your job, and then they find the 18 to 21-year-old that can do the job. I've had 17 surgeries. I'm 33 years old.
Jesus.
That's the same thing way I treat my girlfriends.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and I listen to all the people, and they can be, as upset as they want to be, but just let it matter to you.
Yeah. Well, listen, for a guy who is as accomplished as you in that arena, and for somebody who has certainly had his life threatened on a number of occasions, you have a very kind of big picture view of the thing that a lot of people, including myself, probably don't have.
Well, and I try and talk to people that, I'm still in the military. I've got about 3 more years left until I can retire.
Okay.
And I work right here in Cleveland, and I deal with people in and out of the military, joining the military, and I always tell them, just listen. Just have what matters to you matter to you. Focus on yourself. Focus on what matters to you. What anybody else does or says to you, just disregard it. What's important to you is what's important to you. But if somebody else says something that offends you because it's something that is important to you, why do you really care?
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's like when someone takes down your beliefs, if you really believe strongly in it, it's not going to change the way you feel about it. And I think a lot of people are very insecure about that, and they want to be seen as a patriot. So when people kneel during the anthem, they go, well, that's making me feel like I'm not as patriotic. And it's like, no, you're not. You can still be incredibly patriotic and have people protest certain things.
Hey, Mike, you're not Deadpool, are you?
No, I wish.
Okay.
He couldn't tell us if he was.
Can I tell you guys one more thing?
Yes, please.
So the last funeral I attended where I put one of my close friends in the ground, there were protesters there, and everybody got so bent out of shape. And I just looked at them and was like, guys, hey, let's just go over to them and say hello, shake their hands. They're probably nice people that are just misunderstood.
I love Mike.
That's the quick. Yeah, that's usually the quickest way to get through to somebody is.
But we went over to them.
Yeah.
And I shook their hand and said, whatever you're here for, I promise you, we are only here to honor our friend. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Right.
I want to
Whatever
marry
you're here for, it's your right to do what you're doing. I just want to let you know that some of the family members here that may not know exactly what this person that's in the ground went through, they take it as disrespectful. So moving forward, if you'd like to continue to do this and protest the military and protest us being baby killers and whatever crap they want to throw out of their mouth, maybe at the funeral grounds is not the right spot.
Mike, has your perspective kind of remained static through your whole time as an enlisted person, or has it changed? I mean, is being close to death change your mind on some things? Were you a bit more like run and gun as a younger dude, or no?
So I joined when I was 17. I'm 33 now.
Wow.
My first deployment was when I was, how old was I? 22 years old. And after that first deployment, my scope and understanding of what the world is, this is the other thing too. You listen to people on the news and on the radio and they say, this is evil, that's evil. I'm going to tell you what, you don't know what evil is until you're over there and see what people do to other people.
Sure.
And as soon as I saw that and saw, and I've had people call me names that you cannot even imagine. And my response is always, listen, here's the deal. Whether you're a woman, a man, a child, if you're pointing a gun at me and I have my friends behind me who I care about them, their kids, their wives, their family, it all becomes very simple. It all becomes extremely simple. And then when you come home and you talk to people, there's just no real way for them to truly understand what you've been through or are going through. I got diagnosed with PTSD 7 years ago. I went through the counseling, the therapy, and I've dealt with it, learned how to deal with it, and I've moved on. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that they're so quick to rush to whether it's a statement or a judgment or a stance without truly understanding the situation, that it blows my mind. I sit back here, I live in Painesville Township now, and I'm just like, man, some of these people just need to open their eyes to what the reality of the world is.
Are you at all, are you completely kind of pleased with everything, at least for now, slowing down for you? Or are you like one of those Hurt Locker guys who get back here and they're like, man, I'm having a hard time adjusting?
Yeah, I had a hard time adjusting until I realized I couldn't do what I used to do the way I would do it back when I was younger.
Right.
So, I mean, if I go back now, I'm on a 12-man team doing stuff. If I, blow my ACL out for the third time, I'm a liability. But at the same time, I look at kind of what's going on, and I watched the press conference, like I'm sure you guys did last night,
right,
with the plan in Iraq, quote unquote,
the
Afghanistan,
ever fought in our country's history, which blows my mind. And daily, I get emails from friends that are still over there. Hey, we were driving around and Bob got blown up by an IED. I'm just like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's hard. It's difficult. The hardest part about being home after I was there is the lack of purpose, the lack of, like, this is what we're here to do. When we reach this point, we're done.
Well, I mentioned this before, and obviously you'd have a much truer perspective, but it feels like Afghanistan is just becoming a charity project. Like we're funneling money into it to make it some kind of protectorate, like a chess piece, but it's not,
Somebody had the misconception along the lines, I don't know whether it was Bush, Obama, Trump, it really doesn't matter. But you can only force democracy on government on people that want it.
Sure.
I mean, we installed countless numbers of, the water pumps and electrical lines, and then go back to that same village 2 weeks later, and those electrical lines we put up are taken down, and they're on a yoke on Knox that's being used to pull a plow through a field.
Right.
Like the forcing of government and the forcing of culture and of societal norm on people that don't want it is pointless.
Especially since this country, and I mentioned this the other day, but at the risk of repeating myself, this country was always envisioned as a project that to this day is still kind of evolving, and sometimes you go back, sometimes you go forward. But to try to take a project that has worked by and large pretty well and try to plug and play it halfway around the world ain't going to work.
Yeah,
necessarily.
It doesn't work. Absolutely not. No. Hey, my wife's going to be mad at me if I don't.
All right, Mike, you have just leapt to the top 5 callers of all time. So thank you, Mike.